1.4 homework help. The first question asks you to pick out the graph of 7 over 2x squared. So you will just have to pick it out multiple choice. I'm going to go ahead and graph it out fully. So if we make a simple t-chart here, and let's let x be -1, 0, and 1. If you plug in -1, you get 7 over 2 times -1 squared, which is going to give you 7 over 2. If you plug in 0, you're going to get 7 over 2 times 0 squared, which is 0. Plug in 1, you'll get the same thing as -1. You'll get 7 halves. So if we go plot that, -1, 7 halves. 7 halves is the same thing as 3 1/2. So -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in here, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 7 halves. You've got a parabola open up, and it's meeting at the origin. And if you're looking at your homework, you'll see that you're just picking out a graph. It doesn't have to be exact. Just make sure you look at the gap between it. So, for instance, my C is a very narrow parabola, and my D is a very fat-looking parabola. So, in this case, it would be C on mine. On part B, you're then asked to pick out your tangent lines. Well, your tangent lines are going to be from the previous graph. So make sure you don't pick a graph that has a parabola flipped upside down. That's not going to be right. So if you're drawing a tangent line at 0, the slope at 0 is 0. So there's a tangent line at 0. And then a tangent line at 1, here's where 1 crosses your curve. So it's just a line that's following the same slope right there. And then also a tangent line at 4. It's going to be way up here somewhere, and it's going to kind of look like that. It's going to be almost flat looking. C, find the derivative using the limit process. So the limit process is the limit as h approaches 0. F of x plus h is 7 over 2 x plus h squared. Your original f is 7 over 2 x squared, all divided by h. And now if we go through and FOIL this, 7 over 2, square the first, multiply the 2 together times 2, square the last, minus 7 over 2 x squared, all still over h. Right now the biggest issue is that h, because when you plug in 0, you're getting 0 on bottom. Limit, h approaches 0, 7 over 2x squared plus, distribute 7 halves to 2h, the 2's are going to cancel, 7hx plus 7 over 2h squared minus 7 over 2x squared, still all over h. So right there I just distributed. And now you can cancel out things that are common. These are gone. And the whole purpose is to get rid of that h. So what I'm going to do on top, I want that h to cancel with the bottom. So on top, both those terms have an h in common. I'm going to factor it out. You're left with 7x plus 7 over 2h. So if you redistribute that, you're going to end up with the leftover on the top. Now that you have the h factored out, you can cancel it out. And we're going to take the limit of just the 7x plus 7 over 2h. So this is the easy part. Once you get that h gone, now all we're going to do is take that 0, plug it in for h, and that term's going to disappear. So when you do the limit, you also drop that limit term out front. That's gone, so we're left with 7x. 7x gives you a formula for the slope for the rest of your question. So moving on to D, you're going to plug in 0 to the slope. 7 times 0 is 0. Plug in 1, 7 times 1 is 7. And plug in 4, 7 times 4 is 28. The second question also asks you to find the limit using the definition of the limit process. So let's do that again. Here's your definition. The limit as h approaches 0, f of x plus h minus f of x all over h. So if I plug that in, you get the limit as h approaches 0. F of x plus h is 4 times x plus h quantity squared minus your original 4x squared all over h. So we can't simply just plug in 0. If you plug in 0, you get undefined. So the whole point is we need to get rid of that h. So I'm going to do like I did on the previous one, and I'm going to FOIL the top. You've got a 4, square the first, multiply x and h together, times 2, square the last. If you can't do that little shortcut, go ahead and write your parentheses twice and use the FOIL method. So now let's see. Let's distribute the 4. 4x squared plus 8hx plus 4h squared minus 4x squared, all divided by h. Cancel out some things that are in common. We want the h to disappear, so I really want the h on top to cancel with the bottom h. I'm going to pull out h. You're left with 8x plus 4. Again, if you redistribute, you'll get 8hx, and you'll get 4, I left an h off. 4h times h is 4h squared. So now these h's can cancel. You're taking the limit of the leftover top, 8x plus 4h. When you take the limit, all we're going to simply do is plug in 0 for h. When we take that limit, you're dropping the limit on the outside, 8x plus 4 times 0. So the equation for your slope is 8x. To find f prime at 1, then f prime at 1 means plug 1 into the derivative that we just found, and you get 8.